at his wits' end. Even hired mercenaries. So much for the Ivory Brigade.
What about the other former councilors? Do you think they're all in danger?
Who can say?
Well?
Oh, hello. Can you come over here and help me? You look like a hardy soul, unconcerned with the prospect of death by trick, trap, or misadventure. How do you feel about helping a defenseless scholar from Gideon unearth a little history from Undertow Cavern? Oh, and can you swim? Have you heard of Phaelivon the Magnificent? He was a famous Nibonese Minotaur hunter, but his final resting place was lost to time. After years of searching, I think I finally found the site of Phaelivon's mausoleum. I hope to recover proof that this is Phaelivon's tomb. His armor, helm, and sword would do nicely. But I didn't get far before I found the cavern overrun with goblins and minotaurs, and parts of it are flooded. I'll pay you well to help me. No one in Leowyn realizes that Undertow Cavern is the final resting place of a great hero. Let me secure my belongings and I'll meet you inside. Time to grab the bull by the horns and wade right in. I found accounts of Phaelivon's burial in a shining mausoleum on a hill outside Leowyn. He was laid to rest with his arms and armor, relics of his many victories. This is the place, but goblins infest the caverns, and minotaurs too. You would be, I suppose. Well, Phaelivon the Magnificent had a golden helm. He wore armor of impervious mail, and he wielded a sword of exceptional sharpness. The stories say that Phaelivon had the most beautiful mail, impervious to sword, arrow, and spear. We don't know much about armor of his era, but he was known as the Magnificent. I can only surmise his armor was quite splendid. Phaelivon's sword was so sharp, it was said to be able to cut the air itself. No, that isn't right. I suppose any sword will cut air. Ah, that's it. This one could cut through armor like air. That's what I was told. As I understand it, the helm was a gift from the Lord of Leowyn in gratitude for Phaelivon's many heroic deeds in Blackwood. The stories say it was fashioned in the shape of a roaring dragon's face. Well, it has been many hundreds of years. I suppose Phaelivon's arms and armor might not be much to look at now, but in any condition they would be of immense historical value. I simply know it. I suppose goblins aren't much of a surprise. They infest many caves in this region, although I had hoped I wouldn't run into any. The minotaurs I didn't expect. None have been seen so close to Leowyn in centuries. That's the very question I was wondering about. Wherever they came from, these minotaurs seem very hostile. Enraged, even. I've heard all kinds of fighting inside. I think they're angry at the goblins. Do minotaurs and goblins get along? That's because it was swallowed by the earth. One night, 700 years ago, people living nearby heard a terrible sound. When they came to look in the morning, they found that the whole mausoleum had fallen into the caves underneath the hill. Because the caves beneath this hill were the site of Phaelivon's last and greatest battle. The mausoleum was a monument to his victory, as well as his tomb. Until Undertow Cavern swallowed it up anyway.
Can I help you with something? How can I help?
Just the sort of place goblins love. Darksome, dank, and foul. His armor shone by the light of moons or sun. It's just too bad Minotaurs are enraged by shiny objects. I can just picture this sword cleaving savage minotaurs. A pity it's dull beyond use now.
Let's keep our eyes open for a tavern where we can spend that.
work pays off. Nobody ever drowned in sweat. What can I do for you?
Imagine how many times this helm saved the heroic Phalavon's head! Except that last time, obviously. The armor, helm, and sword are all badly damaged. Skeptics might say these could have belonged to anybody. We need to find Phalavon's Horn of Magnificence to settle the question for good. But where is the horn? Why isn't it here? Phalavon's Horn of Magnificence was his greatest treasure. My grandmother told me he made it from the horn of a Minotaur lord. It had a brass cap inscribed with an intricate design. When Phalavon blew it, echoes rang from the hills for 7 days. I am. Mostly. But yes, I have a personal stake in this. Phalavon is a distant ancestor. I grew up on stories of his battles, his magic horn. Oh, could this be about the horn? Grandmother told me the horn's note drove Minotaurs mad with fear and rage. But sometimes the horn called Minotaurs to battle even when no one sounded it. Maybe the Minotaurs are here because of the Horn of Magnificence. Oh, I wondered about that too. House Vero mostly died out long ago, but they were certainly real enough. We can trace a relationship to Phalavon's line on my mother's side. There is truth to my grandmother's tales. I'm certain of it. No. No one outside my family remembers Phalavon. Almost all of the histories that recorded his deeds have been lost. Even his mausoleum vanished. But now I'm close to the proof that Phalavon really existed and was a great hero. you hear that? Phalevon's horn!
The day will be ours!
I'm sure I heard the horn in this chamber. But who sounded it?
Fighting you was their last mistake. What's on your mind?
Balevon's horn! Just as the stories described it. Did this goblin sound the note we heard? It looks like we can get out through here, if you don't mind getting a little wet. Finally, proof of Phaelivon's legend! I'll be the talk of Gideon once I bring these trophies home. And yet, I wonder, did the goblins here cause their own troubles by meddling with Phaelivon's horn? Or is it dangerous to just keep around? I want to take them back to Gideon and prove, once and for all, that my family's story is true. Fame, fortune, festivities await! But if these relics, especially the Horn of Magnificence, are dangerous, perhaps I shouldn't bring them home. You're right. Phaelivon's magnificence deserves to be remembered far and wide. I'll take these historical relics to Gideon and prove the truth of my family's old legends. Thank you for your encouragement. We may be bruised, battered, and wet, but these relics tell a magnificent story. Without your help, I'd never have learned about the fate of Phaelivon and the Horn. Thank you. Oh, I shouldn't forget your pay. Visit me in Gideon sometime. Phaelivon we may be... I hope to see you again sometime. Although I must confess, now that I've finally found evidence supporting the legend of Phaelivon, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do next. Don't worry about me. I shall set out at once, and I shall neither fear, fret, nor flinch from any dangers on my road. After all, I share the bloodline of a great hero. A few generations removed, anyway.
We simply must do something about the business, brother. These chambers are much too small for our lifestyle.
I realize that, Scipion, but the Fangfurls have us by the throat. What am I to do?
Wild traders strike sides back, ever seeking and sword swinging. Death
Well, now, Scipion can say what he wants about this city, but you don't have strapping, smoldering-eyed strangers walking to your suites in Chain Knoll. Alas, were I only in the mood for some distraction. Damnable Fangfurls. With the Empire gone, the Fangfurls gang controls all trade in Blackwood. They're run by Pungent Adder. Every fifth coin in the region ends up in his coffers. This makes business difficult for my brother and I. Perhaps we could enlist your help? If we had one of their business ledgers, I'd have an understanding of the Fangfurls' operations. Perhaps even find a weakness ripe for exploiting. If you could procure one of those ledgers for us, my brother and I would pay you handsomely. If you get us a ledger, I'm certain we can put it to good use. Rumor has it the Fangfurls have a bookkeeper, Lerard Droth, who lives in town. I'd wager you could find a ledger in his home. It's just around the corner, across from the bridge. I know his name is Lerard Droth, but the Fangfurls make him lead a quiet life to conceal his identity, I imagine. But all the muscle on their payroll visits him for late-night liaisons. Very clandestine, the whole thing. But not to my keen eyes. You can learn a great deal from a business ledger. Where money comes from, where it goes, and then all you need to do is apply a little pressure at a weak point. I don't know exactly what we'll find, but I do know whatever it is, I can exploit it. The Happy Averno Shipping Company was gifted to my brother and I by our dear departed uncle. Formerly, it was one of Blackwood's main trade enterprises. We thought with a little elbow grease, it might prove a profitable venture. We discovered our uncle's affairs were more precariously poised than described, for one. Many of his charters and contracts were voided by the Three Banners War. The Fangfurls did the rest. They came for everything they could steal.
Innkeepers! Blankets as you fall in bed. Hot grease drips into the blazing fire. Grapes dangle as
Is there something I can do?
with desire.
Here to listen.
So many sordid delights so loud. But what is the cost of such wonderful things? No amount of gold can hide the rot it brings. Fangs lurk beneath brightly painted lips, as innocence falls like arrows from our ships. We dance until our tired feet bleed, gorge upon all the delicacies I need. The lovely deception will tarnish the gold.
Mara's bosom, he's a dull one.
Can you write legibly in the face of danger? Want to get paid for it? Come speak with me.
Tragic. Want to prove yourself? A healthy... You come?
If you have opinions about crows, I have got a job for you.
Want to prove yourself?
Ah, hello, adventurer. I have need of someone with your kind of mettle. It's dangerous work, but there is a reward if you're so inclined. What do you say? I have 2 clients with competing requests about crow eggs from Arpenia. Alareth wants the crow eggs saved, while Rugrol wants them destroyed. Both are willing to pay, but I suppose the decision is up to whoever takes the job. It seems that these crows in particular are, or were, involved with the Nocturnal somehow. Very mysterious. If you are curious, you can find Rugrol in the chapel and Alareth in the cemetery next to it. If not, head over to Arpenia and find those eggs.
Brotherhood is involved. What good are brigadines or mercenaries?
I've summoned the guard. The guard knows how to deal with the likes of you.
I saw some rather unsavory ruffians skulking about. Fang furls, I'm sure.
They wouldn't dare approach us directly. We're safe enough, you. The Fangfurls continue to sniff around our skirts. If we don't move quickly, there won't be a happy Averno shipping company left to save. Did you find the ledger my brother asked about? I'd like a look. Julius. Let's see. It seems the Fangfurls have their thumbs in some very dirty pies. I'm not one to talk, given where my hands have been. I have an idea. If we can draw out Pungent Adder himself, we can topple him and his gang. By gifting Pungent Adder some umbrage. Looking at this ledger, I see two morsels dangling before us. Firstly, according to this, the Fangfurls use dead drops to issue and receive orders. If we steal those drops, we disrupt their operation. We sent Pungent Adder a more personal message. It seems he has a barrel of Oleander Coast Reserve waiting at the docks. Let's say we season it with something foul. Make it as pungent as the adder himself? While you sabotage the dead drops and taint his wine, Julius and I will write a signed letter to make his blood boil. Then it's just a matter of combing the stinking depths of Leowin until we find someone that can put the letter in his hands. Hang on to them, I suppose. They might be useful to peruse after all is said and done. Find out who's worth trusting and who's happily squirming in bed with Adder. The cask is at the docks, so I'm sure there will be something on hand. Pitch, bilge water, fish, anything will do. Just try not to get caught doing anything unseemly in public, No sense mixing business with pleasure. Hang on to them, I suppose. They might be useful.
Counselors? Do you think they're all in danger?
Who can say? But if the Dark Brotherhood is involved, what good are brigadines or mercenaries?
When you commit a crime, I have to deal with people. See where this is going? Pay up.
Good
choice.
Seem to be respectable
Now
again.
Get out of here.
I think you got away with it this time.
Have you seen the note? If you seek companions for your adventuring, look no further. This one can help with that. Ah, of course. These listings are where other adventurers, much like yourself, can declare their interest. Those of a similar proclivity can join up together and form guilds. Take a look. This one is sure a group suited to your needs awaits you. Have you had the chance to review the guild listings, friend? Wonderful! This one hopes you found something that interests you. Too often, this harsh world becomes isolating. Finding companions can make it bearable, Here, a little something for your time. This one is quite pleased you stopped by, and hopes that you find a guild that appeals to you. Amsad wishes you many friendships and adventures in your future. The listings are a place for like-minded adventurers to come together. The world is quite vast, no? Many times it is difficult to find those with similar interests to your own. With this register, you need look no further.
Trail.
Got a gullet that needs filling? If you're not too choosy, then look no further. These bilge grubs will settle your stomach. There's the smell of low tide in every bite. They're a good source of fuel for the working people of Leowen, of course. Once they realize how much energy and nourishment is in each grub, they'll forget about that pretty house scent. Why not buy a skewer, stranger? Wonderful. You won't regret it, I guarantee. Oh, and speaking of regrets, don't eat these near any open flame. Enjoy.
Great area for harvesting.
What?
Well, we can't wait any longer. We should begin the experiment.
With no porters, no assistants. This endeavor's been a farce from the start, Revers. Now it's a doomed one.
Did you need something?
Praise Vivek. You'll hear about the notices I posted, yes? Even if you're not, you're welcome all the same. My student and I need help with an experiment, and the situation is rather desperate. Well, really desperate. Really, truly desperate. House Telvanni is funding a practical test of my latest invention, the Phantasmal Sensor. It exercises spirits, ghosts, and other spectral beings near instantaneously. The unquiet dead claim countless lives each season, but no longer. The porters and assistants I contracted with have been waylaid in Narcissus, some manner of food poisoning. I'm desperate for an extra set of eyes and hands to help with labor and preparations. Nothing dangerous, I assure you. Oh, I'm so relieved you agreed to help. Before you arrived, I feared my overseers at House Telvanni really might... No matter. Tyrus and I already set up a small field laboratory in the ruined Veyond. Meet us inside and we'll get started. Certainly. It's a wedding of Barrelzar's theories on the interactions of tonal and spectral forces with a resonance housing of my own design. Activating it should render any ghosts in proximity completely mute. A clever bit of engineering, I suppose. What? No, I'm extremely excited about it. My superiors in Tel Naga called it a product of minor interest. Believe me when I say that's as robust an endorsement as I'm ever likely to earn. If the Telvanni Council thinks it's worthwhile, so do I. Tyrus is a junior Oathman of House Telvanni. At this point in his education, he's obliged to accompany a spellwright like myself on a few field excursions. Sort of an apprenticeship. Honestly, in his case, it's just a formality. Tyrus is an incredible talent, of the sort that only appears once in a generation. What's more, his family is extremely well-connected. He lives the Telvanni creed effortlessly. I wager he'll be Archmagister one day. Really putting me on the spot, aren't you? There are aspects of Telvanni culture I find abhorrent, the practice of slavery being chief among them. We do what we can. When the only alternative is exile, it's complicated. Certainly. It's a wedding of Barrelzar's theories on the interactions of tonal and spectral forces with a resonance housing of my own design. What? No. When you're on a mission to quiet down restless ghosts, you go where the restless ghosts are. Angry spirits pile up in these Ayleid ruins like weevils in a hollow log. Feck only knows why. I've never taken much interest in Ayleid history. In Morrowind? I wouldn't think of it. Silencing an ancestor is blasphemous, even if some of them deserve it. My Aunt Cernsea can't let a visitation go by without complaining about her urn. We know you wanted purple. Get over it already, right?
Taking assistance from random passers-by. The magisters of the house will most certainly have opinions on this. To think of it, Revis, a crumbling ruin is an apt place for your final experiment with House Telvanni.
Finally, we can get started. There's a lot riding on this experiment's success. So yes, let's all stay focused and diligent. And also very, very careful. I need you to paint some stabilizing runes around the area to reinforce the sensor's magics. They're not all that elaborate, I promise. But do be mindful. I'm not leaving anything to chance this time. Here are the materials in a template. I infused the paint with ground soul gems to reinforce the rune's potency. At great personal expense, I might add. Right, Tyrus? There's no price too high for success. Try not to use it all right? I have a few more calibrations to attend to. As for Tyrus, he'll probably, observe. For educational purposes. You can speak with him if you have any other questions. Set guide you, my friend. Remember, precision is of the utmost importance, so no loafing or dawdling, you! I'm sorry. We're supposed to use harsh declaratives like that to motivate people. Are you? Yeah, I can tell you're motivated. Great. That's great. The housing I created for the phantasmal sensor should contain the energies it releases well enough. I employed a fascinating helical boring technique invented by the dwarves of Arkingthand. I have all sorts of ideas for... Sorry, that can wait. Right, sorry. The runes provide a stabilizing aura to prevent any real spectacular tonal reactions or spectral anomalies. I triple-checked every aspect of the experiment, but a mage can never be too careful. Especially if that mage is me. Difficulties? Ha, no, certainly not. I just place great emphasis on safety. Sure, there have been a few bumps along the way, but like the old wizards say, in the mountains of magical praxis, one never climbs in vain.
Soul gem-infused runes slathered on alien walls? The poor condition of the stone combined with imprecise template virtually guarantees a lack of efficacy. What is Revis, an amateur? What am I saying? Of course he is. Finally, someone else makes an astute observation. Congratulations, you've just become the second smartest person in the room. The runes Revis wants painted will have, at most, a negligible impact. They're essentially just expensive vandalism. Don't be thick. I have nothing to learn from the likes of Revis Demnevani. This is a mere formality. When I ascend to the council, I will make weeding out hedge mages like Revis my first priority. Oh, yes. Revis knows where he stands with the Telvanni Council. On a precipice. And after today's nonsense, he will finally fall off.
Ah, welcome back. The rooms are in place, right? I'm anxious to begin the experiment. Excellent. By the three, can I just tell you how refreshing it is to hear a voice of support? Thank you. Now, the next step is a bit more complicated. I need you to assist me with a phantasmal sensor's kindling sequence. These magical pylons provide the key. Fair warning, they can be a bit unruly, but the fundamentals are sound. Spectral energy will pass between them freely, but sometimes the crystals dislodge. If that happens, I need you to reattune them. Just pay attention to the energies flowing between them. If no spectral motes pass through one of the pylons, you'll know that's the one that needs fixing. I should warn you, if you try to attune a functional pylon, you might feel a mild shock. It's nice to have a willing pair of hands to assist me. Tyrus seems well acquainted with instruments like these. He could make a real contribution if he wasn't so set on observing all the time. I wish I could convince him to help. Ah, well. Certainly. Just keep a close eye on the spectral energy leaping between the pylons. If you don't see any energies flowing to or from a pylon, then I'll need you to reattune it for me. Let's begin. Like I said before, pay careful attention to the flow of energy. Find the pylon that isn't properly attuned.
Amateurs. Is it really so hard? No? Ancestors help me. Really? Try again. How embarrassing. So hard. Really? Try again.
Good. Now here comes the next sequence.
So did you know that you...
Now, the last sequence. It's working. Just a moment more and...
Finally! Someone else makes...
What? Why isn't it... Good grief! Damn it all! I triple-checked the pylons last night. I field-tested the rooms. I've read everything Barrelzar's ever written aside from his fetching diary, and it still doesn't work. Still! Why won't it work? It needs to work! No. No! You followed my instructions to the letter, and I practically killed myself proving out the theories in my laboratory back home. Literally. My eyebrows only recently grew back. It can't just be bad luck. I must have missed something. Something in Beyond. Some arcane anomaly that disrupts the function of pylons. Of course, the ruin I choose to work in suffers from some heretofore unseen pylon scrambling hocus pocus. Just another day in the life of Revis Demnavani. Well, we need to find the source of the disturbance. Take Tyrus and explore the lower chambers. It shouldn't take him long to identify the culprit. Just make sure to keep him safe. If anything happens to him, my Kwama is well and truly cooked. Right. I'll stay here and inspect the instruments. Again. If I didn't find any flaws the first 3 times, I doubt I'll find any now. But who knows? Maybe Tyrus is right. Maybe this is just a huge waste of time. What do I think? What does that matter? The Telvanni Council detests my work on duemitonal mechanics. They want nothing to do with my study of rare eggs. The phantasmal sensor is the only thing I've ever created that won their approval. Really that important? Well, of course it is. I'm a member of House Telvanni, for Vex's sake. If the Council drums me out, what would I do? Who would I share my theories with? No, once that door closes, it closes forever. It's unthinkable. Absolutely. Yes. Maybe. I don't know, but I have to try. Would I rather be poking around in a dwarven ruin, unraveling the mysteries of tonal architecture? Yes, but no one ever said arcane practice always leads to excitement.
Well, let's get this farce underway. Our maps of Beyond didn't depict this tunnel. Oh, Vex head. Be on your guard. Trolls! Hideous savage beast! Keep that brute away from me!
Sheath your weapons. The battle is won.
There, in the distance, more alien masonry. Finally, no more mucking around the dirt like some clumsy salt rice farmer. There's a strange aura on the other side of this door. Can you feel it? Finally. Now then, these Vala stones are clouded. Some manner of arcane erosion. They must be the source of Revis's trouble. Destroying them in this state could generate an explosive burst of magicka, and draining their power is no small feat. Smash away, hero, and let's get out of this place.
Draining their
Tyrus. The interference.
Vala stones? Indeed. The help and I already dealt with them. You're welcome.
Oh, well, thank you. Wait, does anyone else feel that?
Intruders! Get out! Get out!
Spirit! Stand back, both of you. It's time for a true test of the phantasmal sensor.
Get it away from me! Back, you creature! I mean it!
Wait, Tyrus! No! Ah!
Time for a true test of the phantasmal
Oblivion, take me, he's dead! Tyrus is dead! This is a catastrophe! What are we gonna do?
Wait, Tyrus! No!
I tried to use the phantasmal sensor to quiet that alien spectre, but Tyrus panicked and started to banish it with his own magic. His banishing spell mixed with the sensor's power and whoosh, snuffed out like a candle. I'm doomed! Just vanished. Yeah, sure, just vanished. To the afterlife! This is classic Revis, you know. I'm a pox. I'll just need a moment to think about what I'm going to tell the house about Tyrus and the sensor, wherever it flew off to.
I'm doomed! Just vanished. Yeah, sure, just vanished. To the afterlife! This is classic Revis, you know. I'm a pox. I'll just need a moment to think about what I'm going to tell the house about Tyrus and the sensor, wherever...
What is happening to me?
Tyrus. Now I can hear him in my mind, haunting me.
I can't. Help me! Use the sensor!
He's not gone after all. Please forgive me, Sarah. While I was wallowing in self-pity, you were out here trying to clean up my mess. And by the three, Tyrus still lives. Or exists at any rate. What happened when you found him? Along with the clouded Vala stones. Interesting. The sensor might have prompted some kind of animus inversion. The specifics can wait. Whatever happened, he's still aware of his surroundings. He might be able to fix this. We? No. I've done enough damage. I'll come along, offer scholarly advice and such, but you're the only person I trust to see this through. The first step is finding Tyrus. His soul seems bound to the ruin and these stones. The clouded Vala stones are sort of thickening the magical fabric of this place. A soul like Tyrus's would cause ripples. Allow me to make a small modification to the sensor. There. If you use it now, it should illuminate Tyrus's path. I've proven beyond shadow of a doubt that I can't be trusted with that thing. For anyone who is not me, using the sensor is quite simple. Activate it, and a mote of spectral energy should coast toward Tyrus. Just follow the mote. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Best to focus on navigating the ruin. I seriously doubt that Bayon's shown us all its nasty surprises.
The light! The clouded light! It calls! I can't any longer!
Tiris, and more clouded Vala stones. By the 3. Were the aliens selling them wholesale? I'll probably regret this, but I'll try to attune the stones. You push them out of position. Maybe that will set him free.
No, not enough!
I know that did not look like a success, but I think I know what's happening. These clouded Vala stones. The aliens wouldn't have carved imperfect stones in this quantity by accident. There's intention here. They're meant to attract spectral energy like moths to a flame. That's why we keep finding Tiris among them. Well, it doesn't just yet, but we're definitely onto something. The sensor can banish the stones, and my attunement spell can stabilize them long enough to dislodge them safely. I mean you, are one step closer to fixing this. You? What do you do now? Keep tracking Tiris. I'll try to puzzle out a way to use the sensor and attunement spell to restore Tiris's corporeal form. We have to move quickly, though. If we don't reach him soon, critical animus decay might set in. That's because it is bad. Let's pick up the pace, all right? Over there! It's Tiris!
It's so close!
I think I know what's going on. Tiris is trying to resist the pull of the clouded Vala stones, but his strength is waning. Luckily, he's running into these smaller stone clusters, sort of like falling out of a tree and hitting all the branches on the way down. I'm wagering there is a greater load of this clouded glass somewhere in the ruin. A stockpile or something that dwarfs these other Vala stones in size, potency, or both. Tiris should eventually find himself there. I can't imagine it will be pleasant, but with enough of the clouded glass in one place, we might be able to create a large enough resonance to restore Tiris's corporeal form. You using the phantasmal sensor, and me using the attunement spell. I have to. Without my attunement spell, the sensor could banish Tiris for good. I can't hide from this forever. I am a mage. Hapless and clumsy, perhaps, but a mage all the same. I owe it to Tiris, to you, and to myself to try. This plan will work, right? Of course it will work. Just follow that moat. I am. It might be a bit morbid, but all this dashing around and puzzle solving, it's why I love being a wizard. I'd nearly forgotten that with Tiris and House Telvanni pushing me around. We all have to follow our bliss, right? Mine's in old ruins.
They made their choices. So be it.
Hayam's mercy. Tyrus is fading faster. Quickly, just smash these stones and we'll hope for the best. There. Now, use the sensor. We have to find the central lode.
That's over with, I suppose.
it. That's head. It's not a cluster of glass. It's an entire well. All right, let's go over the plan. We were looking for a pile of clouded glass, and instead, we found a limitless font of unstable magicka. Shame we have to destroy it. But let's be honest, I would have found a way to accidentally destroy it before long. Are you ready to save Tyrus? First, we need to replicate the original event. Aim the phantasmal sensor at him and unleash its power. While you're doing that, I'll cast the attunement spell. Weaving the two together should dislodge his animus and restore his corporeal form. Much less confident than you'd like. If it's any consolation, most magisters aren't certain of a hypothesis until they test it. Our test just happens to have the potential for cataclysmic results. Discharging spells and jangling magic sensors in front of an unstable well could prove explosive. But nothing is certain. Magic is more art than science. At least that's what I tell myself in situations like this. 7 in 10? Give or take. You've faced worse odds before, though. Right? Come on, hero. Let's do some heroing. It's working. We did it. Tyrus, are you all right?
Revis! I am alive. Oh, thank you. AM's mercy, I thought I was dead. I never should have cast that. But the ghost was there and I just panicked.
Oh, dear. There, Tyrus. Why don't we head back to camp, all right?
I'm writing the Magister straight away, Revis. You'll receive accolades aplenty.
Even an old sack might have treasure inside.
That's, very generous, Tyrus. Thank you. Well, this is unexpected. I'd resolved to spend the rest of my life in exile, but now Tyrus is singing my praises. Do you think he hit his head or something? I guess anyone can have a change of heart when they have a brush with fate like this. Hopefully, Tyrus's testimonial will earn me some latitude with House Telvanni. Not enough to rise in rank, mind you, but enough to keep them off my back for a while. None of this would have been possible without you. Thank you, Sarah. Safe travels, my friend. And if you ever find yourself in Nisus, feel free to drop by. As soon as I can, yes. The sensor was always a means to an end. Tyrus's letter should give me the boost I need to continue my real work. Rare eggs, dwarven machines, vegetable conjuring, all the bizarre obsessions that House Telvanni scorned. Ha! No. I'm far too clumsy to evade the Telvanni Council's contempt for long. But we have to treasure the time we have, right? I'm sure I'll make some really worthy discoveries before they start nosing around in my work again.
Thank you.